Welcome, the spicy lady. Fear does not disappear when you become strong. You just stop letting it decide your life. There are things most people quietly avoid every single day. Not because they are impossible, but because they are uncomfortable. Being alone with your thoughts. Accepting hard truths about people you care about. Walking away from something that once felt right. These are the moments where fear shows up without warning, and most people choose comfort instead. But there is a spicy kind of woman who moves differently. She does not pretend fear is not there. She simply refuses to let it control her decisions. While others hesitate, overthink, and stay stuck, she leans into the very things people run from. Not because it feels good, but because she understands something most people ignore. Growth is rarely soft. It is sharp, quiet, and often misunderstood. What makes this even more intense is that from the outside it can look cold or distant. People misread her calm as a lack of emotion when in reality it is control. They mistake her distance for pride when it is actually clarity. This is not about being fearless. It is about being honest enough to face what others avoid and strong enough to keep going. Anyway, in this video, we are going deep into 10 things that quietly scare most people, but not her. Some of these will challenge how you see strength. Others might make you uncomfortable. Stay with me until the end because the last one changes everything. Let's get started. Spicy lady. Number 1, they are not afraid of confronting reality. Most people have a quiet habit of softening the truth. Not because they are weak, but because the truth can be sharp. It can shake what you believed, expose what you ignored, and force you to make decisions you were not ready for. So instead, many people adjust the story in their head just enough to feel safe. But she does not do that. She looks at things as they are, not as she wishes they were. If someone is inconsistent, she does not call it confusion. She calls it a lack of effort. If a situation feels wrong deep down, she does not cover it up with hope. She listens to that discomfort and takes it seriously. For her, the truth might hurt, but confusion hurts longer. Think about a relationship where the signs are already there. Late replies, broken promises, energy that feels different. Most people will create explanations to protect their feelings. Maybe they are busy. Maybe they are stressed. Maybe it will get better. And before they know it, they are holding on to something that has already changed. She sees the same signs, but she does not negotiate with them. She accepts what is in front of her even if it stings. And that acceptance gives her something powerful. Clarity. Clarity helps her move without hesitation. It helps her walk away when needed, adjust when necessary, and protect her peace without drama. She does not waste months trying to fix what is already showing its true form. This does not mean she has no emotions. It means her emotions do not blind her. Facing reality is not easy. It demands honesty, and honesty often comes with loss. But she understands something most people learn too late. A painful truth can set you free, but a comfortable lie will keep you stuck in the same place, slowly draining you, and she would rather feel the pain once than live in confusion every day. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Number 2, they are not afraid of being the villain in someone else's story. Most people spend their lives trying to stay on the good side of everyone. They soften their voice, ignore disrespect, and say yes when they mean no, not because they agree, but because they are afraid of being seen as difficult, rude, or selfish. They would rather carry quiet frustration than risk someone changing how they see them. But she does not live like that. She understands something many people avoid admitting. The moment you start choosing yourself honestly, someone somewhere will not like it. Not because you did something wrong, but because your silence used to make their life easier. Think about a friend who only calls when they need something. Before, she would answer every time, give her time, her energy, her attention. She would tell herself, it is normal that this is what friendship looks like. But one day she pays attention. She notices the pattern, and instead of explaining or arguing, she simply stops showing up the same way. Now suddenly she is called distant. She is told she has changed, maybe even labeled as selfish. But what really changed is that access is no longer free. Or take a family situation where she has always been the one who keeps the peace. The one who swallows her opinions to avoid tension. The moment she starts speaking honestly, even calmly, the reaction can be strong. People may say she is disrespectful or difficult, not because she is wrong, but because they were comfortable with her silence. She accepts this without trying to fix their version of her. Being misunderstood does not shake her as much as betraying herself would. She knows that growth is not always praised. Sometimes it is judged, resisted, and even punished by those who benefited from who you used to be. So if being real means becoming the villain in someone else's story, she accepts that role without apology because she would rather be seen as difficult than live a life where she is easy to use. Number 3, they are not afraid of being too much or too different. Most people learn early that fitting in feels safer than standing out. So they adjust, they lower their voice, hide their strong opinions, and shrink parts of themselves just to be accepted. Over time, they become easier to tolerate, but harder to recognize, even to themselves. She refuses to disappear like that. She understands that being called too much often means she is expressing something others are not comfortable facing. Too direct, too focused, too independent. These labels are not always flaws. Sometimes they are signals that she is operating at a level that does not match the room. Instead of trying to tone herself down, she pays attention to where she is. If an environment makes her feel like she has to constantly edit herself, she does not see it as a personal failure. She sees it as a mismatch. Think about a workplace where new ideas are quietly discouraged. People nod in meetings but avoid real conversations. She speaks up with clarity, asks questions others avoid, and pushes for better standards. Instead of being appreciated, she might be seen as intense or difficult. Many would take the hint and become quieter. She does the opposite. She recognizes that her voice is not the problem. The environment simply was not built for someone like her. Or in social circles where shallow conversations dominate, she does not force herself to play along just to belong. She would rather be silent than pretend interest in things that do not align with her mind. This does not mean she walks around trying to be different. It means she refuses to trade authenticity for acceptance. There is a quiet confidence in knowing you are not for every space and not every space is for you. That understanding saves her from a life of constant adjustment and quiet frustration. So when people say she is too much or too different, she does not argue. She listens, understands what they mean, and keeps moving because she knows the right spaces will never ask her to become less. Number 4, they are not afraid of losing everything and rebuilding because deep down they trust one thing most people don't, themselves. Most people hold on even when they know something is no longer right. A draining job, a one-sided relationship, a version of life that looks stable on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. They stay because starting over feels like falling. It feels like losing time, effort, and identity all at once. But she sees it differently. She knows that holding on to what is already broken is a slower kind of loss. It drains confidence, energy, and self-respect little by little. So when the moment comes, she makes a decision most people delay for years. She lets go. That does not mean it is easy. It means she accepts the discomfort that comes with rebuilding. The quiet days, the uncertainty, the feeling of stepping into the unknown without guarantees. Think about leaving a job that pays well but slowly kills your spirit. Most people will stay, convincing themselves it is the smart choice. She pays attention to how it is shaping her, the exhaustion, the loss of motivation, the way she no longer recognizes her own drive. And one day she walks away, not because she has everything figured out, but because she refuses to keep trading her life for comfort. Or imagine walking away from a relationship where effort is no longer mutual. There are memories, history, shared moments. Leaving means starting again, meeting new people, opening up all over. Many avoid that pain. She faces it because she knows staying in something that no longer grows will slowly erase her. What makes this powerful is not the act of leaving. It is what comes after. She rebuilds without rushing. She learns, adjusts, and becomes more precise with her choices. She does not panic when things are uncertain because deep down she trusts her ability to figure things out. That is what most people lack. Not strength, not intelligence, trust in themselves. And once you have that, losing everything stops feeling like an ending. It starts feeling like a reset. Number 5, they are not afraid of seeing the truth in people. They don't ignore red flags just to maintain comfort. Most people notice the signs early, but they talk themselves out of it. A strange comment that did not sit right. A pattern of broken promises. A shift in energy that feels off but is hard to explain. Instead of trusting that feeling, they search for softer explanations. Maybe it was a bad day. Maybe they did not mean it. Maybe it will change. She does not play that game with herself. She pays attention to patterns, not excuses. One mistake can be human. Repeated behavior is a message. And once she sees the pattern, she does not try to repaint it into something more comfortable. Imagine someone who is kind when they need you, but distant when you need them. At first, it feels confusing. You question yourself. You wonder if you are expecting too much. Most people will keep giving, hoping the energy will balance out over time. She notices the imbalance and accepts it for what it is, not potential, not possibility, reality. Or think about someone who speaks well in public, but reveals a different side in private. Small disrespectful remarks, subtle manipulation, a way of making you feel unsure about yourself. Many people ignore this because the good moments are easier to hold on to. She does not separate the two. She understands that both sides are real and the hidden one usually matters more. What makes her different is not that she sees more than others. It is that she refuses to lie to herself about what she sees. And when the truth becomes clear, she adjusts quietly. She does not argue. She does not try to expose anyone. She simply changes her level of access. Less time, less trust, more distance, no big speech, no dramatic exit, just a calm shift that says everything without saying a word. Number 6, they are not afraid of their own darkness. Most people spend a lot of time trying to look good on the outside, calm, kind, in control. But deep down there are thoughts, emotions, and impulses they would rather not face. Jealousy, anger, resentment, insecurity. Instead of understanding these parts, they bury them and hope they never show up. But buried things do not disappear. They grow in silence. She chooses a different path. She does not pretend she is perfect. She has sat with her own uncomfortable truths. She has felt jealousy without denying it. She has experienced anger and asked where it came from. She has noticed her own flaws without rushing to defend them. That level of honesty is not easy, but it gives her something most people lack. Self-awareness. Think about a moment where you feel threatened by someone else's success. Many people will hide it behind fake support or quiet comparison. She pauses and admits it to herself, not to judge herself, but to understand what it reveals. Maybe it points to something she wants, but has not pursued. Maybe it exposes a gap she needs to work on. Instead of letting it turn into silent bitterness, she turns it into direction, or consider anger. When someone crosses a line, most people either explode or suppress it. She does neither. She studies it. She asks what boundary was ignored and why it affected her so strongly. Then she responds with clarity instead of reaction. This does not make her cold. It makes her grounded. Because when you understand your own darkness, it stops controlling you from behind the scenes. You become more intentional, more aware, and harder to manipulate. She is not afraid of what she might find within herself. She has already been there. And because of that, she moves through life with a quiet strength that does not come from pretending to be good, but from truly knowing who she is. Number 7, they are not afraid to be disliked. They know being liked by everyone often means being real with no one. Most people spend their lives trying to please everyone. They smile when they do not feel like it. They agree when they secretly disagree. They hide their opinions, their needs, even their personality just to fit in. They hope that by being liked they will be safe, accepted, and seen. But the truth is being liked by everyone usually comes at the cost of being real with anyone. She does not play that game. She understands that not everyone will appreciate her honesty, her intensity, or her decisions, and that is fine. She knows that the people who truly matter will respect her for being herself, even if it makes things uncomfortable at times. Being liked by everyone is not her goal. Being authentic is. Think about a friend who calls out unfair behavior in a group. Some people might get defensive. Some might avoid her for a while. Most would start pretending to like everyone again, softening their words and adjusting themselves. She does not. She says what needs to be said and carries on knowing that true respect is earned through honesty, not agreement. Or consider a workplace situation. She may voice a perspective that challenges the status quo. Some colleagues may see her as difficult. Some bosses may prefer quieter voices, but she continues to speak up when it matters because compromising her voice is not worth the approval of people who do not understand her value. This confidence comes from a simple understanding. Approval is temporary, but self-respect lasts. Trying to be liked by everyone is exhausting and hollow. Choosing authenticity can be hard, uncomfortable, and even lonely at times. But it creates trust, clarity, and real connection. She embraces being disliked because it is a sign she is living on her terms. And that courage, quiet and unwavering, is what separates her from the majority who bend, compromise, and hide. She does not just survive in the world. She thrives in it because she is unapologetically herself. Number 8, they are not afraid of outgrowing people. They don't romanticize loyalty when growth is no longer mutual. Most people stay in relationships, friendships, or situations long after they have stopped serving them. They hold on to the comfort of history, shared memories, or the fear of being alone. They tell themselves loyalty is everything, even when it comes at the cost of their own growth. Over time, that loyalty turns into chains, keeping them small and stuck. She sees it differently. She understands that growth is not always a collective journey. Sometimes the people around you are not moving in the same direction. They may have good intentions, but their pace, mindset, or vision does not match yours anymore. And that is not a betrayal. It is reality. She does not romanticize loyalty when staying means shrinking herself. Think about a friend who used to share your ambitions, your excitement, your drive. Over time, they stop showing up for themselves, or you. They criticize your progress, dismiss your dreams, or cling to old patterns. Many would stay trying to pull them along or pretending nothing has changed. She notices, and without drama or announcement, she begins to step back. She protects her energy, her focus, and her growth first. Or consider a romantic relationship where both people were once aligned, but now the direction has shifted. Maybe one wants stability and the other wants adventure. She does not cling to what once worked. She evaluates whether staying supports the person she is becoming. If it does not, she walks away quietly without fights or excuses because she knows some connections are meant to stay in the past. Walking away is not easy, but it is necessary. It is a way to honor herself, her progress, and her future. Number 9, they are not afraid of being alone for long periods. Loneliness does not scare them as much as fake connection does. They would rather sit with their thoughts than sit with people who drain them. She does not rush to explain herself every time there is misunderstanding or tension. When a situation starts turning into an argument, she often does something that surprises people. She simply stops giving more information. Not because she has nothing to say, but because she understands that every conversation deserves full access to her thoughts. In everyday life, most people feel the need to defend themselves. They want to clarify every detail, correct every wrong assumption, and make sure they are fully understood. But she has learned that too much explanation can sometimes weaken your position instead of strengthening it. The more you talk in the wrong environment, the more your words can be twisted, misinterpreted, or used against you. For example, imagine someone is trying to argue with her over a misunderstanding. They are not listening. They are reacting. They interrupt. They assume. And they push their own version of the story. Instead of continuing to explain herself repeatedly, she quietly reduces what she shares. She answers only what is necessary, nothing extra. The conversation slowly loses fuel because she is no longer feeding it with emotional energy or extra details. This is not avoidance out of fear. It is awareness. She understands that silence can sometimes be more powerful than correction. When she stops over-explaining, she stops giving others material to distort. She protects her peace by choosing what to reveal and what to keep to herself. What makes this so effective is that it shifts control of the conversation. While others may expect her to keep defending her position, she steps back emotionally and observes instead. The pressure leaves her and it often transfers to the other person who is now left without constant responses to react to. In the end, she is not trying to win arguments. She is trying to preserve clarity and emotional balance. And in situations where explanation leads only to exhaustion, she chooses silence as a form of strength, not weakness. Number 10, they are not afraid of being seen as cold. People confuse emotional discipline with lack of feeling. They don't correct that assumption. They let people think what they want. Most people are afraid of how others perceive them. They smile when they are frustrated. They apologize when they are not wrong. They soften their voice and actions because being misunderstood feels risky. They fear being judged as harsh, uncaring, or unapproachable. And in trying to avoid that, they often lose themselves in the process. She does not play that game. She knows that emotional discipline is often mistaken for coldness. People assume that if you do not react the way they expect, you must not care. They think calmness means indifference. They confuse boundaries, patience, and self-control for lack of emotion. And she lets them think that. She does not waste energy explaining herself. Imagine a moment when someone cuts her off or challenges her publicly. Many would snap, explain, or over-apologize to avoid conflict. She remains composed. Her calm might feel icy to some, but it is not because she does not feel. She feels deeply, but she chooses when and where to show it. That control is a kind of power most people never develop because they are too busy reacting to prove they care. Or think about a situation where she sets a boundary that others do not like. Some might call her cold, others might gossip or judge. She observes silently and moves on. She knows that being misunderstood is far less dangerous than being manipulated. She prioritizes her own clarity and peace over the approval of those who cannot see beyond surface emotions. Being perceived as cold is not a problem for her. It is a sign that she values substance over performance, that she does not need to prove her feelings or justify her choices. And in this quiet strength, she becomes untouchable. In final words, courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward even when fear is there. What makes these women truly remarkable is not that they are fearless. It is that they have learned to sit with the things most people avoid. They face truths that are uncomfortable. They step into solitude instead of clinging to shallow connection. They see people as they are and adjust without drama. They accept their own darkness and move forward even if it means being misunderstood or disliked. Most people live small because fear controls them. They compromise, pretend, and settle. They sacrifice growth for comfort, relationships for approval, and truth for ease. These women show us a different path. They teach that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it is quiet, deliberate, and unshakable. It is the kind of strength that allows you to walk away from what no longer serves you, to rebuild when everything falls apart, and to trust yourself even when the world disagrees. Think about it. Being willing to confront reality, sit alone, or upset others is scary. It challenges every instinct most of us have learned. Yet these women embrace it with calm confidence. Not because they are invincible, but because they understand that growth, clarity, and peace are worth the discomfort. By the end, what becomes clear is that being truly unstoppable comes from being honest with yourself and the world. These 10 things are not just quirks or traits. They are lessons in courage, self-respect, and resilience. And the most powerful takeaway is simple. The world will often misunderstand you, but your life will be infinitely richer when you refuse to be afraid of your own strength. Thank you for watching, and God bless.